So here we are again, Pete. Again.
Again.
Tasting wine with Pete and Dave.
Very
Hey,
good.
I'm excited, Pete. Tomorrow I'm going to the baseball.
All right.
That's why I got my Ferrari shirt on.
All right. You need to be, driving a Ferrari to be seen at the baseball? Perhaps? I don't know.
No, I'm going to be
What's that got
photographing the baseball.
Oh, I got to
Pete.
say, what's that got to do with wine?
The Ferrari shirt's got nothing to do with baseball, and that's got nothing to do with wine. So let's get into it here,
I was
Pete.
going to say, if you're wearing a Ferrari shirt, they'll be thinking, we're not going to pay this guy. He's already got too much money. Okay.
Yeah, look, the first wine we're tasting here, Pete, is this is Mum. This is a non-vintage.
Okay, the Cordon Rouge, the non-vintage.
Yeah.
Quite a famous label, this, yeah, okay. So, GH Mum Champagne.
Yeah, from France. Now this is the
From
good stuff.
From Champagne, no less.
Well, probably not the best stuff because this is a non-vintage, but
Yeah, but as we've said before, though, a lot of the premium, or the top champagne houses they focus a lot of their energy and their efforts on the non-vintage for the simple reason that this is the wine that they want to represent their champagne house. So the top champagne houses, the non-vintage they would often tell you it's the most important wine they make.
and they'd certainly sell through quantities of this stuff. Mm-hmm. This is lovely. It's very fresh. It's got all those beautiful characteristics of a champagne that bread shop characteristics. And there's plenty of
full
fruit
flavour,
there.
generous flavour, and it's got the champagne character that you want. Yep.
Now we're going to do a little bit of a comparison. What we've got here is this is the vintage.
Okay.
This is a 2004 vintage, Mum.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Very good. Okay.
Well, that's a bit of a comparison.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. One of the few wine styles that the current release is got that sort of bottle age on it. You know, champagne does that.
Look at the bubbles.
Yeah, that's pretty flash.
Wow. And I think that looks particularly cool in a proper flute, champagne flute.
Yes. It would,
That's one of the things that I was told. If in a proper flute, part of the champagne is watching those bubbles come up.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and they run up the side and all that sort of
Yeah.
thing. But no, that's true. It's a very theatrical experience. I mean, you have champagne for celebration, but too often we miss the fact that it is actually a serious wine as well. And
wow.
You'd like to think so. If you're going to be paying $80, $90, $100 for a vintage champagne, you'd like to think it's pretty good.
Beautiful. That really is displaying some of the characteristics of the age there. And there's still, I mean, everything there about that wine is so much more pronounced than the non-vintage. That bread shop.
Yep.
Oh, beautiful stuff.
Yeah, beautifully balanced, really nice length of flavour. But still fresh enough that you could have that as an aperitif, and it's not going to dull the palate by any means for what you're going to have afterwards. So you can see why they like drinking that at the upmarket races.
Absolutely. You wouldn't have that with a hot dog at the baseball,
I
would
was going to say, are they going to be serving that to you at the baseball tomorrow? Maybe not.
Okay, now we're off to Spain here, Pete. We've got a Albarino. Now,
Albarino, yep.
Yeah. Now, you've talked about this wine several times. This was a big mistake. We thought we had this here in Australia.
Yep, we did.
I don't know very much about the Albarino.
Well, it's a very appealing style. It's the Spanish white, if you like, in a way that Riesling is the German white.
And Sauvignon Blanc is
the New Zealand white.
New Zealand white.
Albarino, it is its own beast. It is its own thing. People say it's got a bit to do with Riesling. It's got a bit to do with other different grape varieties. But essentially, it has its own character. It's quite fresh. It's got quite aromatic characters.
Yes. Very aromatic. And on the palate, there's a lot happening there as well. There's a beautiful fruitiness and beautiful length in the palate, and
Absolutely.
a really balance of acid there that is just absolutely lovely.
And
does
again,
that age well?
It does, yeah. In the medium term, I guess you're always going to get some people out there who will say to you, okay, yes, you want something 5-10 years old. But in a way, it's like a lot of other grape varieties that you could say, well, it has the potential to age, but it's a question of whether you like the aged character. But it'd be hard not to drink that now. Having
traveled to Spain and spent some time over in Europe, I can actually just picture this in my mind.
Yep.
With a light lunch as well. Some of those Spanish-style foods. So
Yeah, that's true.
It's got enough character to carry it through.
Yeah.
Some of those.
It's got, as you say, it's got quite an attractive aromatic profile, like almost elements of tropical fruit, and there's a fullness on the palate that it's not quite as full as a Chardonnay, but it's fuller than, say, a Riesling.
Yes.
And that's what makes it distinctive. And I would imagine something like char-grilled prawns, even like big king prawns in the tropical heat. Char-grilled, so you're getting that charry flavour on the edge of the prawns, and something like this would wash it down really, really well.
Even a barbecue chicken, I think.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. Again, because there's enough flavour in the wine to sort of complement those bigger flavours. Yeah,
Beautiful.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, that was an interesting experience. Now we're going to stick with the Spanish theme here. Lovers, not
Toreadors.
Toreadors.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I love this label.
Right, okay.
Now this is a Tempranillo.
Tempranillo, yep. So this is
Tempranillo.
okay. So you would see yourself, or Toreador being a bullfighter, I'm guessing. So you would see yourself as a lover rather than as a bullfighter.
Absolutely.
If you're going to be liking this wine,
That's a snazzy label, I think.
Very much so. Yeah.
Now I'm expecting this is going to have a traditional Tempranillo characteristics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big bold fruit.
Oh,
What vintage
big
are we looking
dark.
at here?
Yeah.
2011.
2011.
So it's pretty young. Interestingly, I'm just looking at the label there. This comes from Ribera del Duero. So that is interesting because that's your really upmarket, top shelf Spanish wine comes from there, and you normally have to pay vast amounts of money to get good ones. We don't see many of them for the simple reason that, they start at $50 to get Tempranillo from Ribera del Duero.
Wow.
That is, and it's quite high. It's a high plateau inland a lot in Spain, long way from the coast, and very distinctive fruit flavours.
Oh, lovely. And along with that fruit, there's just an absolute beautiful balance of a nice toasty oak in that. And one of the things that, when I get that up to my nose, that it reminds me of that Spanish sangria. You know, all the fruit that you find in the Spanish sangria.
A riot of spices.
Absolutely beautiful.
Well, I don't get a lot of oak, but there's certainly a little bit of that tannic, the grip that you get in Tempranillo.
Yep.
That is characteristic of what you get from good Tempranillo. Perfectly ripe, beautifully ripe fruit,
Yes.
very vibrant, lifted aromatics, a lot of spicy fruit on the nose, and a little bit of dark berries as well. But then, really attractive length of flavour on the palate, and those tannins that kick in on the finish. So
I can still feel it on my palate now.
absolutely good bottle of red.
Yeah. Next one we've got here is a Tres Picos.
Oh
Tres
yeah,
Picos.
the Tres Picos made by Borsale.
Braseo, and this is a Grenache or Grenache.
Yeah, this is Garnacha as the Spanish call it, but just Grenache to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this too because some of the characteristics that the Spanish put in their wines, the toasty oak characters, that comes through.
Well, you tend to get, it's a European element, not just from Spain. You get it in the Rhone Valley in France as well, where you're getting a spicier, more savoury edge to the Grenache than what we usually get in Australia. Part of the reason for that is that they're quite happy to keep the oak away from Grenache. There will be oak in it, but it's usually older oak, and the idea is that you don't want the oak to be dominant. In Australia, we're starting to come to terms with that as a concept, and the better makers have now realised that you don't want to be putting new oak in Grenache. And so the grape variety has enough fleshiness and enough flavour of its own to stand up to it.
It might not be new oak, but what I get out of it is the toastiness of the oak.
Yep.
So that may be a medium toast in there.
Probably.
And the tannins at the end kind of come in.
They build up.
And right up the front of the palate, of course, you get those lolly shop Grenache characteristics. And wow, this has got so much. And the fruit, to me, seems so ripe as well. They have done a beautiful job.
Beautifully ripe fruit. As you say, you do get a little bit of that confectionery lolly shop character on the front palate, but then the savoury elements kick in and the nice structure and good length of flavour.
And the tannin pulls it all together.
Absolutely,
it's just absolutely a beautiful drink.
Yep, certainly.
Wow. Could take that one to the baseball, maybe.
I want to make sure that the people who were drinking it with me had some idea. Otherwise...
you wouldn't want them to be the umpires.
Possibly not. No. Unless it's after the game.
Okay. All right, next one here. Wow, some of the Spanish. Fincas de Gonzús. Gunza.
Fincas de Ganuza.
Ganuzo.
The maker's
Now,
actually here. Ramirez de Ganuza is the maker.
This is from Rioja.
Yep,
in
indeed.
Spain.
These guys are stars in Spain. They're one of the new age or new wave of winemakers, young guys that are doing really exciting things. I think this one, Tempranillo is usually the base, but I think this one's got some Grenache in it.
Yep. This is also a 2005 vintage.
Yeah, it's 05 vintage, so first up
Wow.
we're getting a little bit of that bottle age character, that
Yep.
maturity that comes through, but you're also getting some pretty classy oak.
But there's,
that comes
I
through
still
there.
get quite a good belt of fruit right up
Oh,
front
sure.
on the nose. On
Yep.
this. Well put together.
Oh, very, very much so. Yeah, this is a new age style of wine. They're new age makers, the young guys that have got a focus on really accentuating the primary fruit character in their wine, but
Wow.
beautifully balanced and enough structure to age. Obviously, that's what, 8 years of age now.
Yes.
So you know, and it
And
it
I
shows
still
some
get
nice-
a really great
Yep.
fruit feel on the palate when I get that in my mouth.
Mm.
And not only that, but it's a very well balanced wine as
Mm.
well. Everything sort of pulls together. There's
Mm-hmm.
a nice little bit of tannin in there, a good amount of acid balance in that wine. And
Absolutely.
again, I could see that with Spanish meat. I mean, the Spanish.
the jamon, the
do-
ham,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and a lot of the tapasy type things as well. And they do a
do
lot
love
of
their
barbecued meats as well. Yeah, I know. And again, you're getting that structure, the tannin. It's a serious red wine. You could drink it now. That's probably not going to sort of go away at all in the next 5 or 10 years. If
Yeah,
you had
beautiful.
if you had a bunch of that in your cellar, then
Yeah.
you'd probably be sad if you drank the last bottle in 5 years, because you'd think, well, why don't I have another one? You know?
I think I'd put any one of those reds in my cellar.
Yeah, that one longer than the other two.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's got real classic old world structure about it.
Beautiful. All right, we're coming back home here, Pete. This is the Jim Barry, the Lodge Hill Shiraz.
Okay.
Now, this is from the Clare Valley, and it's 2010.
Okay. Oh well, great vintage. As we keep saying, there's some serious purpley edges in the colour of that.
Yeah.
You almost get the impression looking at that this is going to be formidable.
fruit.
It's like, wow.
Big fruit. Big
Absolutely,
fruit.
yeah. And you get that classic Clare character coming through. These guys are stalwarts of the industry in the Clare Valley. I mean, they won the trophy last year for the best wine at the National Wine Show with a Riesling. And that's, of course, Riesling, Shiraz are the two flagships of the Clare.
We do it so well here in Australia with that
We do.
big, dark, berry, ripe,
Yep.
really ripe, dark fruit.
And there's that essence of Clare that comes out. It's like a licorice element. There's a few other bits and pieces, dark berry characters, and you almost get the impression that it's going to be porty.
Yes.
And then it's not, because
it's
it's
not.
got such clean structure on the palate.
It is clean.
You know.
Yeah, very clean. Very beautiful. Beautiful wine. That would go well with any barbecue, I think.
Oh look, I was out for dinner last night, and the menu had venison on it. It had beef cheeks on it, and that would be the sort of wine that we had some good bottles that we opened, but I'd have been happy to have that as well. Really
Absolutely.
worked well.
Well, that's great, Pete. That was a really cool selection, and
It was, yeah.
a good experience with that Spanish wine.
Absolutely,
So-
yeah. We should thank the cellar master.
Absolutely. We'll
Thanks,
see you again next week, Pete.
You will indeed.